I told you this guy's a genius.
Self-proclaimed, maybe.
Well, as long as it works for him.
Exactly my point.
Awesome. Yeah. Full range. I cannot be overly concerned. Nah. Forget it, man. Full range just feels heavy. It's just stupid. I don't know. I just don't want to carry this at all. I may carry it like this. Okay. I'm just gonna stretch this out a little. It's not like you don't do this usually. Maybe it's just a question about how to hold it. It's this thing, right? Okay, now I've got a solution for a problem. I don't want to continue right now. I just want to sit here for some reason. There is no reason, right? And there's also no reason possibly that I feel raped and molested. But there's a reason I'm doing this. Because I believe that there's something to be gained by allowing yourself certain things. Like certain pleasures. So I don't have to be super nice to everyone. Okay, right now I'm in a place of suffering and pain. Now I cannot help you but realize I'm drinking a beer because I am opening myself up. It used to be a tradition to drink alcohol and then go for pilgrimages. The alcohol opens you up for the experience. You just have to know your limits, and you have to know what the distance is you want to travel. And then, of course, you also have to consider the weight. So if I go hiking for 1 day and I bring 3 to 4 beer, and I say I'm gonna hike 30 kilometers, you know, I feel like I'm a bit in pain. Everything hurts. Like my feet hurt, I cannot enjoy the hiking because I'm in so much pain, also emotional pain. And now the question is, if I know where my boundaries are and I don't drink every day 10 beer and I just sit around and let the alcohol do the thing, but I actually go hiking with it, then it's a different story. And I cannot help feeling connected to this woman that I keep talking about. So no matter who I meet elsewhere, I feel like there's some kind of devotion that goes both sides. And I get it. Being in love and then being separated is painful, but it gives you no right to sleep with or erotically intimately touch other people. And if you realize that you do this, you know, I mostly stay away from women. And I had a situation recently, so maybe when you hear me talking, it sounds like I already gave up. But it's just that, you know, if you're in a relationship and you go to the boulder hall, and you as the husband start chatting with young girls in tight pants while your wife sits there with a child, that's quite mean, man. So your focus has to be on your wife and your children. And if there's a young girl in tight pants that wants your attention because she's got daddy issues, you better know where to draw the boundaries, because you have a wife and you have to be devoted to her. And if you don't like being with her, well, then that's your problem. I don't think there's anything gained from jumping ship. I meet a lot of people that just jump ship. Yeah, my husband couldn't let go of this, and they've got all these excuses. Well, you married for life. Who says you can end that? The law? Because you can get a divorce? Well, your soul's never divorced. You're gonna suffer for the rest of your life if you do this now. You could have fought for this relationship because you loved each other once. And now you think, well, I can do better now. I meet these women. Their husband died. They should be in mourning. And then they look for a guy to fuck around with. Are you kidding me? She says she had the perfect man. Well, he's gone now. You want to do tantra with me? Are you fucking insane? You can spiritually connect with him and sleep with him on the spiritual realm. I get it, that's not enough for you. I can't do that job for you. I've had a woman standing in my apartment just when I moved in there. It was a bit messy, you know, just the way it is now. And she said, it reminds me of my husband. Yeah, what are you doing here? Right? Maybe it gives her the feeling he still exists in some way. And when you find someone and you love that person so much, you know, that's the hard part. You take what's being given. And if your partner stops giving, what are you going to do? And that's why I rather know how to be alone, so that I don't sit around waiting for a woman to love me. You know, I can sit here, you know, I've met that guy I sat with him on the streets. I miss him sometimes. I liked him. We sat together. We had a good time. And now I'm afraid to go back there because of what happened with these young guys. And maybe it's over. I think it's over. So maybe I could go there and sit there with him sometimes. But I also don't really know him. He seems like he's selling crack. I don't know, it was a brown paste. And I don't know if that was food or crack. I think it was some kind of drug. Might even be heroin. I don't know how that stuff looks like. You know, I'm really ignorant if it comes to these things. If a woman would love me, I wouldn't know how it looks like. I wouldn't even know how it feels like, because no woman has ever loved me like that. Maybe my mother, but that's different, right? And you also have to want to accept the love. Maybe there were women that loved me in some way. But you also have to realize it has to be enough. I'm a strong guy. You know, you really have to love me to be able to stick around with me. Because, you know, I'm like sitting in deep shit. Why do you think I make so much art? It's the only thing that keeps me happy. Because, you know, I see all of this. You know, I eat a chicken and I always remember how it's been raised. I can still enjoy eating the chicken, but I still know how it's been raised, and I think it should be different. And when I watched The Lord of the Rings, I just started the Two Towers again. The extended version. You know, when I see those orcs, when they have this shot of, you know, Isengard.
We're bringing the hobbits to Isengard.
And then, you know, this orc comes and says, I don't know, we don't have enough wood or something. And then Saruman says, the forest of Fangorn is before us. Burn it to the ground. You know, I don't see Saruman and orcs. No, I see the modern man. I see modern humans. And I try to be the hobbit in the Shire. But to get to the Shire, to have my place in the woods, you know, my Underhill, my Bag's End, I have to put in the work. And I have the feeling that's what I can do. I can talk about these things and I can bring them in a relation with healing in nature. But sometimes it's just a bit much. Sometimes it's just a little bit much. And you feel like, you know, I'm on the verge of collapsing. You know, I won't cry. And that's the problem with alcohol. It brings you to that place where you could cry. Well, what's the point? There's no point. You know, I keep it in myself. It piles up as anger. I go for a run. Much better. If I just keep crying about it, I don't go hiking because I sit at home crying. Ooh. Yeah, keep moping. You know, I build it up and then I do art. I build it up and then I go hiking. You know, when I wrote my dissertations, you know, people call it procrastination. No, I was just taking my time. I was just enjoying life, going for hikes, doing what I do. And then when I had about, you know, I just did a bit of work. And when I realized, okay, I was running out of time, then I started running. You know, I drank coffee, one after another. And then in 2 weeks, I did the work that other people do in 3 months. You know, that's how I work, you know. I go insane, I go nuts. And I got the best grade you can get for my bachelor thesis because it was good work. And they thought, oh yeah, now he's gonna do it, you know, he's gonna write papers, because that's how they get money. Right? You're a university, you're some kind of institution, you know, you write research papers, you get money for that. So it doesn't matter what you do, nobody cares as long as you get it published. As long as your methods are good, nobody's gonna check your data. I mean, you can make up data, but of course you have to know a little bit about the species. But you can just collect a bit of data and the rest you just extrapolate it, right? You can just follow monkeys for 2 weeks. You know, I didn't do that because now it sounds like I did, but I just know that you can. I mean, I heard of people that did research with the Chinese, and they did things that the Chinese did not understand. And in the end, they stole the data and canceled the contract with the guy. But they didn't understand the data, but they still published the paper. Do you get it? Which is, science is a hoax. It's bullshit. It's opinionization. Okay, now I'm getting into it again. I was in a place of deep suffering. Holy crap. You know, that really works on me. The knowledge that the woman that I'm so in love with just lay there and had to accept healing from another man because I wasn't there to help her. I think that's what's really bothering me. I want to help her. I want to be with her. I want to heal her. But I have no time. And she doesn't trust me. She's afraid of me. That's all things in my mind. I don't know. Maybe she wants to be with me, but she thinks I don't want to be with her. She probably thinks the same things that I think. Because we are one. You know? Jake Sully, yeah, sleeps with Neytiri, and they are one. They're one. That's how this stuff works. You and I are one. And then what? You tell me. You and I are one, and then what? I brought my slackline. I brought all of this stuff. And here I am, and I don't want to continue. You could say that's the story of my life. You know, I'm not sure if it's the Raw Thoughts song from Chris Webby in 28 Wednesdays Later, where he says, you know, that's the thing about naming things. At one point you just stick with one thing, you don't give a shit anymore, you just give it a name. Where he says, you know, I don't want to do it, but I feel like I got to. That's how I feel like. I don't want to do it, but I sit here and I'm doing it. And why? Because people need honest emotions. They need people like me who sit in front of the camera and they talk about how much they love someone. Because that's what we need. I love art. You know, that's the only thing that puts a smile on my face. Or honest people, you know. If you say you hate me, that's an honest emotion. But if you act like you like me, that's just a lie. You know, I like people that break through their bullshit. But if you bite me in my finger, you have to see what's coming. And now I'm not so sure, right? There are things I want to do. I think I have to open up to the city again. And maybe I shouldn't. You know, that's where I'm really stuck on. You know, what am I so afraid of? What am I so afraid of? That somebody's gonna meet me and gonna kill me? You know, that's what I'm afraid of, to lose my life. Because I am in love with this woman. And it hurts that she had to go to another man for healing. And I just hope that when she told me and I said, you know, I don't know what I said, but I just didn't like it. And if you're really connected with each other, then you're gonna feel it. You're just gonna feel it. And I thought I was going somewhere else, and now my path seems to change. Which is weird. Sometimes you just have to go back to the people. So now you can think, you can judge me for sitting next to a trail. Yeah, the trail is right there. It's like, and they can say, oh, he's getting drunk. But I know what I'm doing. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this. Because sometimes I feel like I just want to forget. Just remember Sam Wise Gamgee. He went through all this shit. What's the ring? So I just drink because I need to loosen up. Now I can identify myself with the feeling of being drunk, or I can stay on top of it and just be sober. I know how to do this. I can be sober after 5 beer. But I can also be drunk if I want to be, I can be sober drunk. Now I feel like I want to be a bit drunk. I don't need the beer. It's just a drink. So, there are emotions. We all got feelings. There's stuff happening. Beer is getting more expensive. So you have to work more, but also wages are getting higher. That's what people always forget. The wages are increasing and the beer gets more expensive. And the only thing you see is beer is more expensive. But your wages have been increasing. But the beer is more expensive. But the wages have been increasing. But the beer is more expensive, It's always the but, I really love you, but you let another man touch you. One of my biggest regrets is that I didn't come on this earth and knew I was gonna meet my wife and I saved myself for her. Because the first woman I kissed or touched or tested, I knew she wasn't it. I was with someone, and it could have been some kind of practice, and it was. And I continued to practice. And I sit here and I feel alone. That's why these bottles are superior to the other bottles. Because now I can just say, oh wow. No, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna continue recording this. Right. You don't want to get sucked into your sob story too much. And that's what people never understand about me. People don't understand how I can do this. That's what triggered my sister at some point into biting me. Why? Because she doesn't understand how I could in one moment start crying and then just stop the flow of tears because I think it's a waste of energy. And then I can say, so what? And that's how it was. I was sitting there with her and I started crying. It's like, ooh, because I knew that's what she wanted. I gave her a little bit of that. Yeah, no woman wants me. Because that's how she feels about men. No man wants me. And then I was just, And then I was like, zip. So what? I don't give a fuck. And that drove her insane. And that's the truth. And she bit me for it. And that's it. You know? And then I set my boundaries. And now I feel better. So, when I'm back in my apartment, what am I gonna think? Yeah, but you only feel better because you drank alcohol. And now the question is that you have to ask yourself, does it matter? Think of the movie. How is it called? The movie is called, you see, and still, I have to tell you this. I'm walking here, I say these things about the woman and that I'm in love and that I have doubts and whatever. But as long as I walk here, if there would come someone now and I felt like I would feel like she is it, I would drop everything I said until now, because that were just words. You know, I'm also selfish. If somebody better would come now, somebody that I connect with, somebody that I can hike with, somebody that I can be with, and somebody that wants to be with me, you know, I would drop everyone I met before. I would do so. But at the moment, there's just nobody else. There is just nobody better. So I'm not holding on to this woman because I think, you know, I owe her something. No, it's just until now, that's the best one I met. And that's what I also have to clarify with myself over and over again. Now maybe we should talk about this. Is it this one? It's possible. I think it's this kind of spring weed. No, I know the German term. It's called Springkraut, which is like the jumping weed, which is apparently comes from Asia. And people say you have to get rid of them because they're invasive. But what I learned about invasive species is you just have to accept them. Okay, this one I'm gonna take, right? This feather I'm going to take. You're gonna love this, man. Right? If you've got a bigger feather, take it. And this is just my way of showing nature. This is like the microphone. The feather is picking up the vibrations and channeling my energy into the camera even better now. You know, that's just made up. See, now I know this path is blocked, because as you can see, I'm exactly where I used to be yesterday. I looked at how filming myself like this looks like, or filming the path that I'm walking to get to where I want to be looks like. And there is a possibility that one day I'm going to walk somewhere and I'm going to film and I'm going to meet someone, and then suddenly it's like, oh wow, it's her. Or maybe it's going to be like, it's someone else. And you see, that's already by imagining how it would be to meet her or to meet someone else. If I would meet her, it would be like, oh wow, I think it's her. If I would meet someone else, I would think someone else. So that's the weird thing. Even though all of this happened between us and I'm still so, you know, drunk in love, probably what Ramdas would call a bhakti. You know, I'm so in love. He's doing the same shit. You know, he calls them a bhakti I mean, he's in love with a 90, 80, whatever, eternal man. Right? Because he can't love himself. I mean, you just have to have one thing. And then you just use it as an excuse to suffer. And then you continue to suffer and you suffer and you suffer and you suffer. And it's gonna drive you insane. And then you start doing art. But you first have to find the one thing. That's it for me. You know? That's it for me. I cannot tell you why this woman, she just sparked it. She just like ignited something in me. And that's not, yeah, it's true to a certain degree. I don't want to give her all the credit, because if that is what love is, then I did that for her. But I don't know, because I don't see her. And she's not right in my face. She's just somewhere else. But every time I think of another woman, she's right there. Like, hey, you know, I'm still here. But I don't know where, you know. It's like, she's nowhere. She's nowhere. And she's nobody. So she could be anyone. And that's the thing that makes no sense if you start being in this whatever spirituality is. You know, it's just after you awakened and you realize, you know, everything is one. We are all one. We are all connected, you know. You have to realize at some point that form is important, because I still look like the Christopher that I started as. My spirit has a certain form, and I believe that it always has a certain form. And I cannot tell you whether I would look different in the Middle Ages or if I would always look like this. But if you read in the scriptures, I didn't do that, but I read like Yogananda and stuff, Autobiography of a Yogi. I did read some books, and I did listen to some things that a pure being looks beautiful. That's just what you can tell. It does not mean that this being is super nice or that you must like him. It just means that somehow the way he walks is more graceful than others. You know, he, without doing anything, he always stands out. And that's basically the story of my life. I always stood out in some way. And people say, that's, you know, why do you have to do this? Why do you always have to be different? Because I am. I'm different than all of you. I'm different than everyone I know. You're just trying to be like everyone else. I don't have to be different. I just acknowledge the fact that I am, and I have the courage to show it. While you're just trying to be like everyone else. That's a good point to end this conversation, because I still want to have a bit of time left to slackline. But I have 48 minutes, and then probably roughly another 15, which I know from experience, if the battery's empty, I still have 15 with the other one. And then you can ask yourself, how much time do you want to have talking? I think... Okay, I will stop this now and then...